Welcome back, everybody, to RFL's New Year's Eve special, and we take a look back at 2013, highlights and lowlights of the past year. Next up, top moments of 2013, and O'Brien, either you were very thoughtful on this or trying to make us all look bad as being small and petty with political moments. What stood out to you?
There's a line to throw in there, Richard,
Yes,
but I won't touch that one. Except this guy here. No, I think the Boston bombings for me, I think, was really the moment of the year that the whole country put left and right aside. Politics was put aside, and nobody rose up and said it was about one specific issue. We have to fight for something in Congress, like the president did with Newtown. And the country unified behind Boston. Boston strong. Everything about it. The Red Sox, when they started playing, it was a marathon. Every marathon after that across this world even came together and said, hey, we have to remember Boston. So the men and women that lost their lives and were injured really are to be commended for what they had to go through. But the country really came together and politics was put aside, and I think that became the political moment.
Just so you and everyone else at the table, we don't look small and petty in comparison. We were doing political issues. Of course, he's got to get all heavy on us. But go ahead, top that.
I just feel so small right now. Okay, I said the whole Carlos Danger, Anthony Weiner. Now I don't even want to say it in front of OB, but yeah, I mean, it's a different kind. You know, I just think, you know, the entire election of the New York City mayor, which was such a big election this year across the country, not just here, and you know, Anthony Weiner's, you know, resurrection by the New York Times of all places, and then his, you know, rise in the polls, you know, pretty much destroying Christine Quinn, and then his, you know, real downfall again.
What shocked you more, and you think the honest, that he was able to resurrect him? I mean, we were talking about this before. I think Dom and others said, oh, you should try and run for public advocate, a smaller thing, get it out of the way. That he actually was a front runner at one point, or that he self-imploded a second time?
My shock was his hubris at thinking if he had just been honest that he was still engaged in this activity, I'm not so certain the public would have been upset in New York City. But the fact that he lied again, to me, was the most shocking part of it. So I have to say his hubris in thinking that he could once again, you know, lie about this and come back and be mayor was, to me, shocking.
Tell the truth, Dominic, when you interviewed him and you asked him, have you kept this thing up? And that's really what got the ball rolling on this. Were you shocked by his answer? Did you think from the guy that you covered that he had this kind of ego or arrogance to try this?
First of all, every politician I've ever covered has the arrogance and ego that Weiner displayed. Only he was out there in a way showing it that very few people will.
Again, not going to touch on. Yes, yes.
And he was just, you know, I put that as my moment as well. I don't know if you want me to go into it now, but
sure.
but Weiner, think about this for a second. If he had not entered the race, chances are Christine Quinn or Bill Thompson would have won the Democratic primary. He took all the oxygen out of the race. And so de Blasio really should send him a thank you note. Because when Weiner entered the race, nobody paid attention to Bill de Blasio. He was an afterthought.
Sure.
No, nobody thought he had a chance in hell of winning. And now he's the mayor of New York City.
He can make him deputy mayor for New Media.
I keep thinking about that press conference, the one where Huma was at his side, and you're the guy who was creeping over the back of the cubicle. I mean, there was like so many things that were comically wrong at that press conference, and his just insistence that this wasn't an issue. How bad?
Nothing to see here.
How bad did you
Do
feel?
you think
for
if he was
Huma
upfront and
at that
honest, like Jeannie says, he could have had a chance? I'm not so sure.
If he were
upfront to say, listen, I'm running.
He couldn't be upfront, because if he was honest on the front side, no one would have taken him seriously. So I'm telling you, this guy had a shot to become mayor of New York. But that Sidney Leathers, is that her name? Sidney Leathers?
It sure is.
When she came forward, it was over. He really had a chance to win up until that point.
And Carlos Danger.
Again, you can't make
He's never been Carlos Danger.
That's when I thought he needed my friend Weiner. That's when I really thought, sitting across from him, that it was time to go see a psychiatrist.
Well, now he's probably going to get into the media, so, you know,
right,
he'll fit
be right with
yeah,
us.
exactly.
You know, I was also tempted to go with Anthony Weiner because, again, one of those moments that you didn't think you'd ever see. But then again, we had seen that from Anthony Weiner before. I've never seen anything like the Rob Ford meltdown in Toronto. The press conference.
I think even Anthony Weiner grimaced a few times at that one.
It was cringe. We played some of the clips on the show a few times, and we were cringing as we were watching it. I mean, his whole reason for being popular was I'm one of the people, but he just such an imbecile. The comments that he was making, he bowled over somebody in the city council
He
in
said
Toronto.
things in press conference I can't say on TV.
Some of those
Yes.
clips you couldn't play.
I
was
can't
gonna
say on TV,
Yes.
but he's trying to refute claims
And
and
he had to go
language.
and face his wife after he said them.
I'm not cheating on this woman because, and I'm not going, but because of what I'm doing with my wife. But it was detailed and disgusting, and just.
How much did you drink before you came on the set tonight?
I assume that he's the spokesman for Molson going forward or something. It's unbelievable.
Who knew Canada was so exciting?
Who knew Rob Ford before any of this happened?
Nobody.
I think even Marion Barry was saying, ooh.
But you know what's interesting? Very few people can name the Prime Minister of Canada, but almost everybody can now name the Mayor of Toronto.
Has anybody seen anything remotely like? I mean, we've all seen political meltdowns. We've all seen people lose it at press conference.
No, but also I think, Andrew,
close.
it's spread out over like a week.
Yeah.
And each day got worse than the next. And you know what's bad when they have like the horde of cameras, and we've all been one of them went in there. And he did a press conference, and I swear you saw the outer ring of the press, and they all look like. He said, what? You know, like, and he goes, wait, put the mic back in. He keep talking.
To put it politely, he didn't know when to zip his lip.
Yeah.
And just
Can I just point
move
out?
on and let it go.
In the middle of all this conversation about him, we've been talking about it for like 2.5 minutes now, 3 minutes. Nobody said the word crack, which, by the way, is how this started. The guy's on camera smoking crack.
Not to
Just
get
to add
heavy,
to it.
but it wasn't just Ford, it wasn't Weiner, it wasn't Spitzer, it wasn't the Florida congressman. It just seemed across the board that where politics, I think, is too often a punchline, and politicians who largely do this for the right reason, it took such a hit this year. And moment after moment, whether it's the whole electoral body of Congress and their inaction, or whether it's the politicians, candidates, or electeds doing stuff that you wouldn't even want to have a neighbor doing, let alone someone who represents you, I just think it was a really rough year for politics.
What about the U.S. Attorney in New York picking up all the politicians in one morning, and one of the people he arrested had actually patted down an FBI agent and said, "Are you wearing a wire?"
We don't even want to get into New York State, but we can't even. There was a list of their quotes this year from some of them, including Andrew's good friend, Mr. Pedro Espada. That we don't have time for that. Okay, when we come back, everybody, we will get into the campaigns and elections of 2013. An off year when it comes to elections, but still some very memorable and notable times. We already talked about a few of them today. A lot of them on the bad side, a couple good though, and we're going to talk about that right after this.